I don't know if there's any way right now that WoW can recover from the bad PR because I don't think anyone's excited for WoW at this point. Like I remember when I was younger and like WoW, like I was a RuneScape player when I was a kid, but WoW was always seen as like, you know, the really cool MMO, the MMO that everyone plays. But like I can see why a lot of people are saying that we're in like the golden age of MMOs now because there's a lot of really good games that you might want to play, like the ones I mentioned before, you know, RuneScape 3. I don't care too much for RuneScape 3, but like I totally get why you'd play it. Old school RuneScape, which isn't just, you know, like classic WoW, it's actually like it's old RuneScape, but they keep adding content to it. You have Guild Wars 2, which still has a really big player base, Elder Scrolls Online, and Final Fantasy 14 now.
And also now Amazon's throwing their hat in the ring.
I don't know if New World's going... New World looks like a really cool game. I don't know if New World's going to survive, though. Like, that game is... It's a buggy mess. Like, there's been problems where if you, like, moved the window, the game client around, it wouldn't send any requests from the server to the game client. So, if you did that during a dodge roll, and you moved it, like, during the iframes, it would keep trying to attack you, but the server still thinks you're in the iframe state, and you just didn't take damage.
The only bug about that I remember seeing somebody mention was something about how, was it the chat was just like some kind of like embedded like web element, and you could just inject malicious code.
The chat was basically an HTML frame, and you could inject HTML into it. Just like, I get having the HTML frame, but do you know what you do when you do that? You don't let people write HTML elements. You just automatically encapsulate everything in paragraph tags. That's all you do.
Please sanitize user input.
Or like, if you let people write HTML into it, you just automatically escape. You sanitize. You escape everything. Like, this is basic shit. And it's funny because it's coming from Amazon. You know, actually, the funniest stuff with New World was the fact they were having serious server congestion stuff when it's hosted by Amazon on AWS. It's like, guys, you literally own web hosting. You are the web hosting. How are you fucking this up? Like, I get that every game's gonna have a lot of difficulty when it first launches, but come on, you didn't think that New World, like, oversize your servers. Go ahead. You'll be fine. But like everything was congested. There was like 19-hour waits for some people. Like 10,000 person queues. Like what even is this?
Oh my god.
I complain about like the 50-person queues I get every single day in FF14, but that's nothing compared to what New World had.
I'm trying to remember what like my worst like MMO launch queue experience was. I want to say it was. Do you ever heard of an MMO called Ion?
The name's ringing a bell.
It was like this Korean MMO where you played like these two races that like were like almost kind of like angels and dark angels.
Yeah, I know.
Like it had like a strong emphasis like flight mechanics. Yeah, when that game released, if I remember correctly, there were like multi-day wait queues. Because they really, really undershot their server capacity.
I really just don't like Korean MMOs. I feel like the armor is a bit too gaudy for me. Like, there's no games where they just have, you know, like you can have gaudy armor. Like some of the stuff in FF14 looks pretty ridiculous, but there's a certain, like, there's an even further level of ridiculousness that every single Korean MMO has.
Yeah.
But it's like having spikes coming off your spikes, leading into plates. Like, what? Like, just calm down.
The arrows either, like, horrendously, like, cartoony or, like, overly anime, or it's like, that's not armor. That's a two-piece. That's a bikini. This looks like you walked out of a screen. This looks like you walked out of a fucking video that's going up on Pornhub later.
I've never actually played an MMO on launch. Like, every single MMO I get into, it's always... Actually, no. Sorry, I lied. I did get into an MMO on launch. Adventure Quest Worlds, back when that came out.
I think I heard about that. I never played it before.
Did you ever play Adventure Quest? It was a Flash...
I don't think so.
It's a Flash RPG. That sort of ages it already. Adventure Quest Worlds, when did it come out? God, let's see. 2008 is when I played it. So I would have been 10. Yeah.
Dang,
it was a fun game. Servers are dead now. Like, they're alive, but there's no one playing them. So the only people that are playing that game are the ones who are standing in the hub area showing off their gear they got 10 years ago. Those are the only people that are still playing it. That and gold farmers, because that's what happens with every MMO.
Yep.
Like, I totally get, like, buying gold in a game that's popular, a game that people are playing, but why would you buy gold in a game that's basically dead?
Have you ever bought gold before?
No, I haven't.
I have, actually.
What game are you playing?
I technically... Wow.
Okay.
I think I bought gold back during Burning Crusade to afford my flight license because it was expensive as fuck.
Right. I have considered it in the past, but like when I was like really into MMOs, it was during like when I was in like early high school and I didn't have money because I was lazy and didn't want to get a job basically. But I have considered it, that's for sure. And hey, look, nowadays you don't need to buy gold. A lot of games will just sell it to you.
True.
Look, even games that don't have like a direct way to buy gold, like WoW, it has the WoW tokens. You can't buy gold with that, but you can buy things to buy gold.
Yep.
God. I think that anytime a game lets you inject real world money into the economy, you're going to start seeing some serious problems. Like, it's going to start very much breaking the way that things are actually priced.
Yeah, wasn't that, that was the issue with Diablo 3 initially, if I remember correctly. Because they had that real money auction house.
Yep. I never actually played Diablo 3. I wanted to play it after, what was the expansion? Reaper of Souls came out, but I just never, I never played it. And since then, from what I hear, the game's basically just been left to die. Like, it's never got anything else after that.
Yeah. As far as I understand, it's basically in autopilot mode.
Which is kind of sad because, you know, people were very excited when... I remember when Diablo 3 came out, like, all of the gaming outlets were super hyped for it, and it seemed like, compared to Diablo 2, it seemed like it was obviously dumbed down because they wanted it on consoles, but it still seemed like it was a good game.
Yeah, it's alright. It's, like... how do I describe it? It's dumb fun.
Right.
You don't really have to think. Like, even if... Like, you don't even have to, like, look up, like, builds, really. Like, if you generally just, like, use some of the shit that you find and you know, can at least put, like, correlate what makes the most sense. Like, you could just basically face roll through most of the content.
I say it's dumbed down because it's on consoles, but technically it doesn't need to be. When you played 14, did you play it on keyboard and mouse or with a controller?
I've played it on both at one point or another.
I don't understand like how they managed to fit so many buttons on a controller.
I know, dude, but actually it works though. Like it's actually not that hard to play with a controller. Actually, at least not when you're. I can't speak if you're trying to do something like healing. That might be a bit more.
A mate of mine plays White Mage on controller.
Oh, okay. Well,
some of the jobs don't work. Some of the things that are like very combo heavy don't work as much, but White Mage seems like it's fine at least.
When you say because they're combo heavy, just because they don't have enough room for all the buttons?
Because you sort of have to, you know, it's very, very difficult to, you know, switch between your different hotbars and all that fun stuff. You gotta have that like Korean gamer skill. I'm sure you could lay it out in a way that makes it easier. But From what I know, I think Ninja doesn't play nicely on a controller. You can do it, but it's not as nice as keyboard and mouse. I just say fuck it to both and use an MMO mouse.
Oh yeah, I have my entire hotbar on my thumb.
Yup. Honestly, it's lovely. Like I can't go back to not having an MMO mouse now. I see the way that some people sort of get around like the problem with a keyboard where you know, if you have things on like 0 or minus, they're kind of difficult to hit. But look, when you get an MMO mouse, you can move and also hit actions at the same time. It's great.
I'd probably have a hard time getting used to a controller like that. I noticed something recently that I don't know why I never noticed this for a super long time. So, you know how pretty much any controller nowadays, for consoles anyway, has like 2 buttons on top on each side? Like a shoulder and a trigger button?
Oh, yeah.
Because I grew up in the time where controllers did not have that, like, you know, Super NES or stuff like that, where they only had 1 button. Even when I'm holding those controllers, I don't hold them like this. I hold them like this.
Yeah, I
do this.
I'm one of these people as well. I see people who play like this. I'm like, how do you move those fingers like that? I don't get it.